moving right along to the reporting piece, we're going to jump over and I'm going to show you through here. There is a full reporting capability. You click on the reports here. I did the service to you guys to show you the reporting piece right here. Oops, and it looks like I timed out. I apologize for that. Let me just pull those back up. So out of the box, there's over 80 cases of reporting and dashboards that are available out of the box. I'm going to pull up a few for you to kind of get a sense and see some of those. These are all reports that I've generated to show you some examples that would reflect what we have available to us. And we'll jump into these in a minute. I apologize that these timed out on me, but as you can see, there's quite a variety of cases, reports available to you. Our implementation team would work with you to get the specifics that you need. They would take you through anything that you're looking for, show you these. Any of these reports can be generated as templates and then modified. We would be able to modify those, put those into folders for individuals or for teams that they could then use the specific reports that were meaningful to them if the out of the box reports weren't quite what they needed. And certainly we give you training to be able to do that yourself. So you're not beholden to Dovetail for any of your reporting needs. Now that said, let me just make sure these are all refreshed for us. Yep. All right, so this is an example of a dashboard. This would be an example where you could come in and find specific information that could be updated. Notice the refresh button that keeps showing up here. That means that each one of these is a different, think of it like a separate widget where we could replace these with different metrics or graphics, and then we could leverage that for whatever our needs would be to really configure it to the specifics of what's meaningful to our organization. These can serve as drill downs. We can dive right into the actual cases themselves. However, remember, I did talk a little bit about this, but let me reiterate this. This is a role and permission driven system. Roles are defined and then specific permissions for those based on your input. And we can specify who has access to what data, what employees, what types of cases, and what function and features in the system. So that's something that we can ensure that no one would have access to this case unless they otherwise needed to or already previously had access to these cases. In the demo system, I've given access to Annie to have access to everything, much like an admin would, but just want to note that that would be really specific to a specific user's capabilities. And if you like a layout for a dashboard and you want to use it for multiple functions, you can certainly have multiple filters so you can have it serve multiple needs. I just did one filter here, but we could have different departments, different groups, different case types, any way you want to slice and dice it rather than having to have multiple specific dashboards for that. In terms of reports, we've got trending reports. Certainly you want to be able to see volumes over time. You want to be able to know that your case volumes are staying steady or going down, not doing something like the blue line here, where you want to be able to react to it if they're going kind of out of control. Ownership reports. You want to be able to see volumes over time and who has ownership of what. This is more like a performance metric on an annual basis, but in a shorter term, it might be more of a balance of load and for different users that you might want to track. And again, drill downs available. Site reports, and sites mean different things to different clients. It could be a department, it could be a geography, it could be a building. Once you decide what that means to your organization, then you can understand and use a report like this to say, this is where our cases are coming from. This is the types of cases that we're getting. I'll show you an aggregation of this region where I create a region from those sites. And in this case, you see this is a fairly busy graphic. It's not very useful. One of the nice features from the reporting system is the ability to change your graphics on the fly. That allows you to leverage the graphics to map to the data that's available. And finally, you can always have individual metrics. And here you can see, again, that value, that context, being able to change those graphics, where if I was just reporting the blue bars here, the 119 would make it look like Kevin and Sarah are doing the same kind of neck and neck in terms of their breaches for this particular instance. But Kevin certainly has many more cases, and Sarah has many less cases in overall. Could be because she's an investigator handling hard cases and he's got easier cases, but that's the kind of thing you wouldn't notice if you didn't see that. Finally, I want to just show you the ability to schedule cases, reports. You can do that by just specifying a name for a report, selecting the recipients, what are the output formats, and what is the frequency that you'd like to have that report. Now, before I finish up with the reporting, that is the ad hoc capability I'm just going to touch upon. And that takes us back to the case management capabilities on the console here. If we go to case, and once I select a case query, I get all these data elements that I can choose from. I could also just use the type ahead feature, maybe do, say, condition. That is whether our case is open or closed in the system. And as a starting place, this is a great report to understand we got 117 cases that are open in the system. I might further delineate that by adding some filters to that. Maybe I want to know the cases that were created for October. And now I have a nice filter on there to understand we've got 10 active cases that were created in the month of October. If it seems curious to you that there's only 10 out of that 118, that might seem like kind of a backlog. Well, let me show you how we could zero in on that. Let's look at the modified date, and then we will do but more than 5 days. When I apply that, you'll see 40 of those 100 and some odd cases, those have not been touched in 5 days. That might be something that is a concern to Annie. And if that is the case, she could give it a name. If you do give something a name, then you have these other functions that appear. You can share it with your team across a department or individuals. You can now download the case, and now I'll have access to it in a spreadsheet format. And then finally, I can make it a favorite. And when I do that, I now have access to it in a view that we haven't seen yet, but this is the favorites view where you can create essentially your own sort of metrics dashboard of different things that you follow, aging cases being one of them. Maybe it's your team's cases, or you want to focus on urgent cases. However you want to leverage different information that you want to have access to, that becomes another focal point. All right. That takes us through everything. I thank you for that. Now I'm going to shift gears back over to Kevin.
Thank you very much. Well, Drew, obviously you're going to dress up as a superhero tonight because you were able to get through all of that so quickly. That being said, please know we can schedule a dedicated demo if you would like. So if you do want to see a little bit more in depth, we did try to keep it a little high level. If you wanted to see it in depth, just let us know. But let's quickly recap what we've covered. We began with the employee experience, exploring how employees can self-serve an issue and even deflect cases from being started. And during this time, they were able to access a variety of personalized resources through that persona that Drew talked about. For those employees who still needed questions answered or wanted direct assistance, they can easily connect still through the portal with an HR representative or even through that AI chat. Next, we moved into the HR experience, highlighting some of the powerful case management and workflow capabilities. In addition to the efficiency tools that Drew highlighted, we saw how HR users can customize their daily work view in that console, and he closed up with leveraging how they can leverage the query function for ad hoc reporting. Finally, we did take a look at how our service delivery platform can generate actionable analytics and insights from the case data. In fact, for a great case study on our client analytics, please visit our YouTube site and watch a recent webinar we held with our client, Crystal Carter from Danone. Her teams leveraged the Dovetail platform, producing outstanding results.